Hallo zusammen! Today you will learn the top 100 phrases every Swiss German beginner must know. But first of all, let's go to one of my favorite places close to where I live. Come on, join me! So, did I promise you too much? Have a look at this view. But anyway, let's dive into the 100 most important phrases you will need to know if you want to learn Swiss German. Let's start with greetings. First, if you want to ask, how are you? You would say the informal version, wie geht's dir? Formal version, wie geht's Ihnen? Then you could reply, gut, or ganz gut, which is so-so, or nicht so gut. In some dialects you would say nicht so gut, but I say nicht so gut. Okay, second one, how to greet someone. Hallo, guten Morgen, guten Tag, guten Abend, or formally you could say the very famous Grüezi. How to say bye? We very often just say tschüss or ciao or auf Wiedersehen. You can also say auf Wiedersehen, which is the same. Number 4, wie heißt du? Informal. Formal version, wie heißt sie? The answer is ich heiße Pedro. Ich heiße Andrea. Next one. Von wo kommst du? Von wo kommst du? The answer is ich komme aus Zürich. Ich komme aus der Schweiz, etc. How to say goodbye? For example, tschüss, schönen Tag noch. Tschüss, schönen Tag noch. Or if it's the weekend, you could say schönes Wochenende. The other person could say mach's gut. And then you could say du auch. You could also say man sieht sich. Man sieht sich. It's like see you around in English. Then to say goodbye, we very often just say ciao or tschüss as well. Now we are all ready at how to apologize or how to say thank you. So, to apologize, we usually just say Entschuldigung. Entschuldigung. It's quite similar to German. Or you could say es tut mir leid. To say thank you, we very often use the French word merci or vielen Dank. Then you could answer gern or gern geschehen. For example, if somebody brings you a coffee, you could say merci. The other person would say gern geschehen or just gern. And then the other person could also say schon gut. Ist schon gut. Okay, now, very important, how to give compliments. Listen up. For example, if somebody did a really nice dish, you could say das sieht aber gut aus. Das sieht aber gut aus. If you really like the other person, you could say du bist sehr sympathisch. Du bist sehr sympathisch. You can see in Swiss German, we say the S like S, sehr. Not like the Germans, they would say sehr, Z, with a lot more sound in it. And Swiss German, we don't really have Z, we say sehr gut. If you like the look of somebody, you could say, du siehst wirklich gut aus. Du siehst wirklich gut aus. Oh, a fly. Doesn't matter, just a fly. Okay, then, for example, at work, you could say to somebody, gute Arbeit. Gute Arbeit. Because Arbeit is female in German as well. Die Arbeit. That's why you say gute Arbeit. If it was male, like Appetit, like appetite, that's male, you would say gute Appetit. Gute Arbeit, gute Appetit. Got that? Okay, next one. You could say if somebody did something really well, you could say gut gemacht. Gut gemacht. Okay, then, if somebody went to the hairdresser, or you just think he or she was at the hairdresser, you could say, bist beim Coiffeur gsi? Bist beim Coiffeur gsi? We say coiffeur for friseur. So we use the French word again here. Also, we don't use, or we don't have a simple past, that's why we use the present perfect. Bist gsi. Not like in German, they say warst du. We say bist gsi. I made another video about the tenses, just check it out here. Then you could say if somebody was really good, you can say du bist super. Du bist super. That always works. I like this sentence. Use it more often. Okay, then, you can not only say somebody is sympathisch, you can also say du hast eine gute Ausstrahlung. Du hast eine gute Ausstrahlung. Du hast eine gute Ausstrahlung. Then, for example, me, I use this very often. Das ist cool gsi. Das ist cool gsi. Or if you want to emphasize it, if it was even cooler than cool, you could say, das ist mega cool gsi. Mega, you can always use if something was really mega. Das ist mega cool gsi. Then, if you want to know how somebody is, you ask, wie geht's dir? Wie geht's dir, informal? Wie geht's Ihnen, formal? Then the answer could be, mir geht's gut. Or you could say, gut. Und dir? Gut. Und dir? Quite similar, quite similar to German. Then, if somebody has just moved, we very often ask this question. We ask, hast dich in deiner Wohnung gut eingelebt? Did you understand? Okay, slower for you. Hast dich in deiner Wohnung gut eingelebt? Hast dich in deiner Wohnung gut eingelebt? So, if you don't feel very well, you can say, mir ist nicht wohl. Mir ist nicht wohl. Or, if you're really not well, you can say, mir ist schlecht. Mir ist schlecht. Bah. If you are sick, you can say, ich bin krank. Ich bin krank. Or ich bin krank. I know sometimes I say bin, sometimes be. Doesn't matter, you can say both. So if you, for example, had corona, you say ich ha corona ka. The present perfect again. Ich ha ka. Ich ha corona ka. Then if you recovered again, you can say ich bin wieder gesund. Ich bin wieder gesund. If you have a headache, you can say ich ha Kopfweh. Ich ha Kopfweh. And then if you don't want to go to work, you can say ich blieb heute daheim. Ich blieb heute daheim. Now, if you have to travel by public transport. Okay, if you want to know when the next train is leaving to, for example, Zurich main station, you would say, wann fährt der nächste Zug Richtung Hauptbahnhof? Wann fährt der nächste Zug, that's a train, Richtung, direction, Hauptbahnhof, main station. If you want to know what kind of ticket you need, you would say, was für ein Ticket brauche ich bis Zürich HB? Was für ein Ticket brauche ich bis Zürich HB? We usually just say HB, which is the abbreviation for Hauptbahnhof. If you want to know on which track the train leaves, you just say, auf welchem Gleis fährt der Zug nach Zürich, for example. Auf welchem Gleis fährt der Zug nach Zürich, for example. If the train is late, you can say, der Zug hat 10 Minuten Verspätung. Der Zug hat 10 Minuten Verspätung. If you know German already, I think you will hear the similarities to Swiss German. A very important sentence. If you go into a train and it's completely full and there is one seat left, you can ask that person, ist der Platz noch frei? Or just, ist da noch frei? Or if somebody asks you this, a lot of people get confused if they don't speak Swiss German. A lot of Swiss people, they just come and say, ist da noch frei? Ist da noch frei? Ist da noch frei? Important in the public transport. Okay, if you missed the train because it couldn't find a track or whatever, you can say, ich habe den Zug verpasst. Ich habe den Zug verpasst. Not good. Okay, maybe there is no bus leaving. You can ask, wieso fährt heute kein Bus? Wieso fährt heute kein Bus? That's a bus. Sorry, I'm not very good at mimicking public transport, but also good. And then if there is no bus, maybe you could take the ship instead. You could ask, kann ich auch das Schiff nehmen? Kann ich auch das Schiff nehmen? S is das. We just say s for das. Kann ich auch das Schiff nehmen? And then you have to ask if you have to change ship or change the train. You ask, wie viel Mal muss ich umsteigen? Wie viel Mal muss ich umsteigen? And then, hat der Bus Verspätung? Hat der Bus Verspätung? Is the bus late? Then, of course, you need a ticket. How do you ask where to get the ticket? You can say, wo kann ich ein Ticket lösen? Wo is where, can ich a ticket lösen. Get a ticket. Something like that. Wo kann ich ein Ticket lösen? Then, if you want to get to know someone, listen up. Very important question. Wie heißest du? Wie heißest du? And the person would answer, ich heiße Andrea, for example. Ich heiße, haven't I had that before? Anyway, if we did, then it's a good repetition, isn't it? Also, as you can see, heiße, we don't use this weird S the Germans use for the double S. SZ, you call it. We just instead use double S. SS, heißisch. Okay. You can see that in the subtitles. Okay, then if you want to know where the person comes from, von wo kommst du? Von wo kommst du? Then you could answer, ich komme aus Neuchâtel. Ich komme aus London, wherever. Ich komme aus der Schweiz. Okay. If you want to know the profession, somebody's profession, you could ask, and a lot of Swiss people ask that. I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but in Switzerland, a lot of people will just ask you this question right away. Somebody's coming. I don't really like filming myself if somebody is... Oops. Anyway, also, you can say, was machst du beruflich? Was machst du beruflich? Or you could ask, for example, seit wann bist du in der Schweiz? Seit wann bist du in der Schweiz? Kennst du das Matterhorn? Or kennst du den Marcel? If the other person is very silent, you could ask from time to time, and I do that often because I'm just a curious person. You could ask, was denkst grad? Was denkst grad? Second person, we always add a sh, but again, check out my other video where I teach you how to conjugate the verbs. Another thing I say a lot, it's ich bin mit Namen ganz schlecht. Ich bin mit Namen ganz schlecht. Schlecht you have heard before. Schlecht, bad. Then this one is a funny one. If you go out with someone and you go to a party and you don't really like it, you can say to the other person, du, wir müssen ja auch nicht, wir müssen ja auch gar nicht so lange bleiben. So if you go to a party, for example, and you don't really like the party and the other person doesn't either, you could, for example, say, du, wir müssen ja auch gar nicht so lange bleiben. Du, wir müssen ja auch gar nicht so lang bleiben. It's to say, maybe we don't have to stay that long here. If somebody starts telling you a really crazy story or whatever, you can say, das möchte ich gar nicht wissen. Das möchte ich gar nicht wissen. Another funny sentence, if you want to give somebody a present but that person already has everything, you can say, dir kann man nichts schenken, du hast ja schon alles. Dir kann man nichts schenken, du hast ja schon alles. If you go somewhere, a very common question people ask each other, bist schon viel da gsi? Bist schon viel da gsi? Was ist dein Lieblingsessen? Was ist dein Lieblingsessen? Or you could ask, reisest gern? reisisch gern? A tricky question. I'm not sure if you should ask it right away, but maybe if you think about it, you can ask, bist verheiratet? Bist verheiratet? Or the other one, bist single? Bist single? And an even more trickier question. An even more tricky question. Hast Kind? Hast Kind? Be careful with that one. An easier one, you could say, hast gern Hund? Hast gern Hund? How to make an appointment. If you ring someone, typically polite with people, they first say, störe ich grad? Störe ich grad? Then the other person could say, for example, even if it's not true, but a lot of people say it, lustig. Ich han auch grad an dich gedacht. Lustig. Ich han auch grad an dich gedacht. Then, for example, hast Lust, morgen ins Kino zu gehen? Hast Lust, morgen ins Kino zu gehen? Ja. Lass uns morgen ins Kino gehen. Wann treffen wir uns? Wann treffen wir uns? Wir ist wir. Wann treffen wir uns? Hast morgen Zeit? Hast morgen Zeit? Lass uns nochmal telefonieren. Lass uns nochmal telefonieren. And then, if you're going to a party and you're not really sure if you dressed up correctly, you could ask the other person, kann ich so gehen? Kann ich so gehen? Kann ich so gehen? I like that one. Then you go to the restaurant and it has a lot of people. You can say, gut, dass wir reserviert haben. Gut, dass wir reserviert haben. Ich habe noch gar keinen Hunger. Ich habe noch gar keinen Hunger. Maybe the restaurant looks closed, you could say. Sieht zu aus. Sieht zu aus. Okay, and then if you ate there at the restaurant and you don't really know who's gonna pay for it, and you maybe suggest let's split the bill, you can say, tun wir's teilen. Tun wir's teilen. Tun wir's teilen. And then maybe the other person says, ich zahle es. Ich zahle es. Then, if you had a really nice evening, you could, for example, say, gehen wir zu dir. Gehen wir zu dir. As you can see, we very often put words together into one word. Like, gehen wir would be gönnt mer. Gehen wir. But we very often put it together into one word. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. We don't have any rules. So here it's just gehen wir zu dir. Because gönnt mer zu dir would be a bit too much effort, you know. Then maybe the other person isn't that interested into you. She or he could say, ich will nichts von dir. Ich will nichts von dir. Maybe you insist and you say, kommst noch rauf? Kommst noch rauf? If your flat is upstairs, of course. So, some everyday phrases, for example, very important, it very often happens at home when you're watching TV. Wo ist denn das Grätli? Wo ist denn das Grätli? We use Gerätli, the word Gerätli for Fernbedienung or for control. It comes from Gerät. Gerätli is a small Gerät. Another important sentence we hear often. Ich bin noch gar nicht in Weihnachtsstimmung. Ich bin noch gar nicht in Weihnachtsstimmung. Das Jahr ist wieder so schnell vergangen. Das Jahr ist wieder so schnell vergangen. Then every day or every second day you have to say ich muss go posten. Ich muss go posten. Oh my God! Now let's start swearing a bit. For example, so ein Kack. So ein Mist. What a bummer. So ein Kack. It's not very bad. It's just, ach, so ein Kack is just mildly bad. Or we very often just say Scheiße, like the Germans, Scheiße. Oder ach nein. Ach nein. Woo! Sorry. Or if you really don't like, I mean, for example, your computer isn't working, you could say Scheiß Computer. Scheiß Fernseh. Die Scheiß Schule. Scheiß, you know. Just add Scheiß. Das darf doch nicht wahr sein. Das darf doch nicht wahr sein. Arschloch. Oh my God, I just said it. Arschloch. We say that. Sometimes. Or a little bit milder. Double. Bisschen double. That's a bit milder, yeah. Then, if you're really angry, you could say Gottverdammt. Or you could say Gottverdeli, which is not as bad because you don't say damn it, damn God, like God damn it. You would say Gottverdeli, which is something similar but doesn't really mean anything. Or Gottfriedstutz, Gottfriedstützli. I prefer these ones. Gottverdammt is quite bad, I would say. If you get really upset, you could say, Ist das ein Witz? Ist das ein Witz? Is that a joke? Spinnst? Spinnst? Or Geht's noch? Geht's noch? Or das ist unglaublich. Das ist unglaublich. Das gibt's ja nicht. Das gibt's ja nicht. It's so bright. Das gibt's ja nicht. Hey, ich glaube, ich spinne. Ich glaube, ich spinne. Ich habe genug. Ich habe genug. Ich habe genug. Ich habe genug. Ich gebe auf. Tschüss. So if you like this lesson, let me know by giving me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, or become a patron, because you will be able to download all the written material from this lesson and from all the other lessons as well. The link is in the description. Hope to see you again soon.